So next we're going to talk about the D3 chest harness. And so the chest harness is a system, the D3 is for use without armor, and we're going to get later on to the T3, which is incorporates into an armored plate carrier. So without armor, we have the D3 yoke, and the D3 yoke is, it's just a harness system that I'm going to show you guys without the suspenders, but there is the accessory to add suspender straps, so it'll act as a suspender system for your trousers. This one doesn't have it, just for simplicity. There's too many straps get going on. It's hard to see on the video. But to don this, once it's all configured and sized, then it's just putting it on like a jacket. And then to set the harness system up, you've got a chest strap, and the chest strap on the one side, there's a little keeper for it. And so you just unclip it from the keeper, ensure that it's still through the shoulder strap loop down there, and just do it up in front of the chest. You'll see on the sides, it has chassis, and so these are the little 8-slit ones. They're very small, but you can also use a full belt for the full length. These I have an 8-slit on each side, but you can do a full single length belt, or you can do an overlapping double full-size belt all the way through, depending on kind of what versatility you want. Then we're going to undo this, and the chest system hookup with, this is called the vertical lift web. So I'll just pop it out. This vertical lift web, and it's going to hook up the exact same configuration as the sit harness. You'll see I'm already donning my sit harness. This sit harness can be either the M3 or the G3. Either one is fine. They both function with both the D3 and the T3 chest harnesses. The only thing you want to make sure of is that the orientation of the leg loop integration webbing is correct, so that the running ends, the adjustable running ends, are facing outwards away from you. And so once that's in place, you put it through the loops on both without the twists, without going underneath, okay? And that's the same configuration as below on your sit harness. No different here. Carabiner goes through them both, secures together. Now here's the key piece. Let's get that done. These loops go on the leg loops. So you're going to undo one leg loop, insert it through that, and then do the leg loop back up. And I always like to clear the material and give it a squeeze just to double check on that. Same thing with the other one, do it on both sides. Clear that webbing, make sure it's done. Now, when you're walking around the aircraft, when you're walking around the ground, you can keep these loose. But before you go on the hoist, before you go on the rope, however you're using this, whether it's on rope, hoist, whatever, then what you can do is you grab the two running ends, and it doesn't matter if these are flopping loose. They're not snag hazards. They don't have anything that's going to get hung up. And you just give a little sit down and tighten them up, and then that just snugs everything up. So the hoist hook can come down and it can clip directly on here. You have a secondary connection point. You can hook the hoist or the rope or whatever up to your harness. That's also a connection point. This gives you a higher center of gravity that's going to keep you upright, especially if you're wearing a pack. And so it's more beneficial to get hooked up here, just because then you don't have to do the Olympic sit-up the whole time you're on the hoist. This is good if you need to position yourself higher or lower with reference to the casualty that you're hoisting, for example. This gives you that ability to do so. Then once you get on the aircraft, once you get onto the ground and you want a little bit of just room to breathe, because this is going to be nice and snug and tight, you just grab those pull tabs, pull them loose, and then you can stand up straight and work and do whatever you need to comfortably. If for whatever reason you hook up here without tightening that up, it's not that big of a deal. It's still going to function just the way it's supposed to function. Tightening it up puts you in a really nice kind of seated hanging position. Just one thing to note too, the handle on the back here, this is not a load rated handle. This is strictly for the hoist operator, just to hang on to you while you're on the sill before you go out the aircraft. It's not for actually connecting anything to. You can cut that out and remove it if you're not doing hoist operations. If you're using the chest harness, say for example on the mountain or in a rescue capacity, you can just cut it and get rid of it if you don't want it. It's not an integral part of the harness. And that's the D3 chest harness system, integrating with the M3, also integrates with the G3, and it's specifically for non-armored use. So just to show the DOF of the D3 harness system, because initially it may seem complicated, but once you get the steps down, it's very smooth. And so the first thing you're going to do is you're going to remove the vertical lift strap from the leg loops. So just one leg loop at a time. If you're doffing the sit harness at the same time, you can just leave those undone. I'm just going to do them back up for cleanliness right now. Next, you undo your carabiner. And then what I like to do is I'll unhook it from one and then pull it out and then hook it back up. And then you can undo your chest. And then what I do right away is I just clip it right up into the keeper. And then you just remove it. And that's the DOF.